Can you hear me? Second thing on our agenda tonight is Director of Schools contract. Our Director of School, Mr. Richard Rye, is elected to resign, and so the school board is entered a contract with him, not as a teacher, but as a for 12 months as a project manager to clean up some projects we've got, working with TEMA and FEMA. There's some things that we're in the middle of and coming up with, and we've got to approve that. And as of now, the chair will entertain a motion that we approve this contract between the school board and Mr. Rye. Mr. Saul made a motion. Mr. Wayne second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. 7-0. Another something that the board has talked about is he has 3 weeks of vacation, and we just pay him for them 3 weeks of vacation. Chair entertain a motion to do that. So move Mr. Wayne Ross. Second, Miss Jessica. All in favor, let it be known saying aye. Opposed, like sign. 7-0. Thank you. While we're on the contract, we, as Mr. Rye has resigned, Chair will entertain a motion that we appoint Mr. Martin as interim for like a month at a time, and until we can reach out. We've talked about this some, or we do in the past, we talk about it, but we've got to look at setting up some qualifications. Has any board member got anything they'd like to add to that? Because there's got to be some qualifications, that we look at. But we'll reach out, and as Mr. Martin would be interested in the job, anybody in our school system can apply that's qualified. But Chair entertain a motion that we appoint Mr. Martin as interim for a month at a time until we can reach out and select one. Mr. Stahl made a motion. I did. Second, Miss Jessica. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. 7-0. Mr. Martin, would you like to come up here? You probably don't, but I appreciate if you would. Chair entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 9th and May 28th, 2024. Mr. Renee made a motion. Second, Mr. Amber. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. 7-0. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? If none, we're in number 5, and we've got public comment. And at this point, we're going to open it up to the public for comments. A little different than we usually do, but if anybody, we do it one at a time, and we just got about 30 minutes, 3 minutes to a person, and try not to use the, if somebody speaks about something, the same thing, we just try to not do the same thing over and over. I can't see. Yes, sir.
Y'all approved Ryan direct over construction. What qualifications does he have to oversee any construction project?
He's been doing this for a while, sir.
Construction?
He's been doing our projects. He is director, so that's part of his job. Part of his job is doing.
Construction project.
Well, I'm not a construction either, but we still got to do it. That's why we got him, when we had him to do the job. Then he elects like construction managers, or we appoint him. He finds them, but the school board has to appoint them, such as a construction manager or architect. We have to do that. We have to prove it. But he has to they have to answer to him, and then he answers the board.
He's the best qualified person for that job?
Well, that's who we selected, sir. Okay. That's I don't think anybody else? No other comments, we'll move on. Number 6, salary schedules. Y'all got. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Will there be community members or board members, as we talked about in the town hall meeting, for an oversight committee
For what?
for the construction management, the project management?
Oh, I guess I can answer this question a little better. We're gonna, Coach McGansky said, we've talked to them before, and, I'm gonna have them to come, we've talked to some, we're gonna have them, I've asked them, the board, about have them come down and talk to the board, an oversight, that look at stuff like that. We are gonna do that, yes ma'am. That's our plans. Thank you.
What's the timeline for that oversight committee to be in place?
Well, I don't know. We will, I've got to get in contact with him and his company to get them to come down to the board, and I'll try to get that done. I hope, see if they can come down at our next board meeting.
Which is in a month?
Yes, ma'am. I will try to have them here then, and I don't, unless they've got a conflict, usually they're pretty good about coming.
Rob is receiving the same salary as he was before?
No, ma'am. Is there anybody else? Thank y'all for coming. Thank you for your comments. We'll move on to number 6, salary schedules.
In your packet, you'll find 3 salary schedules. The first one should be the certified personnel salary schedule for certified teachers and administrators and other certified staff. It's the one with yellow lines. The one behind it is for the support staff, and the third one would be for bus drivers. All 3 of these schedules reflect a 4% raise in every cell. So if you take this year's set of salary schedules, increase each cell by 4%, that's these salary schedules. You passed a budget, the final budget you passed in April was calculated to support these increases. You do these at the same time. Oh, wait a minute. You got differentiated pay, you got to pass.
Differential pay? Salary schedule. Motion to Mr. Dwayne. Second to Mr. Saul.
This is the 4%.
4%. Across the board. All in favor, let it know, saying aye. Opposed, like sign. 7-0.
The next sheet in your packet is a differentiated pay plan. Each year, every board, and this board is required to adopt a differentiated pay plan. It must include at least one of 3 components. Those components are hard to staff, additional instructional roles and responsibilities, or performance. We have typically chosen two of those components, hard to staff and additional instructional roles and responsibilities. Anything that's in yellow is an addition from last year. The hard to staff pays 1/6 of a teacher's salary based on experience only for a teacher to teach during their planning period. That's based on need. We've had an ESL teacher paid that way. In the past, we've had to have high school math. It's when we have an overflow in students. Instead of hiring a new position, if we can cover it teaching one period, we do it that way. Ms. Reese and I discussed adding special education to that because of the difficulty in hiring special education teachers. And the additional roles and responsibilities, instructional roles and responsibilities, the change there was to increase the top end of that range to $3,000. Those are the only changes there. This is something we do every year. Yes, sir.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Ross made a motion. Need a second, Mr. Mark. Second. All in favor, let me know, saying aye. Opposed, like sign. 7-0. Budget amendments, transfers, Mr. Martin.
So on page 1 at the top, 76,100, 304, increase in architects of $320,000 from the fund balance. This has already gone before the county commission. I think they approved it pending your approval. There was also a note in the letter that went to the commission that stated once the county has obtained financing, the amount of $420,000 should be reimbursed to general purpose by the county. That would be $100,000 already paid to Meridian by the school board, and then this amount also. That money comes out of the fund balance. The next item, 76,100, 707, is an increase of $135,328 from textbooks. We didn't have textbook adoptions this year, so that money was unused in the budgets. We've taken mostly unused. So we've taken $100,000 there, and 72,410, 499, instead of instructional supplies, that should read other supplies and materials. That's a misprint that we'll correct later. That amount is to increase building improvements and to be coupled with the public school safety grant monies to fund the security breezeway project here at Waverly Central, between the Waverly Central building and the CTE building. The next item, 72,230, 499, is the increase of $1,415 to other supplies and materials from vocational equipment. This is a CTE grant, and I guess this will be cleanup for that grant. And a lot of the rest of this is early cleanup that we're trying to get done ahead of time. The next item, 71,100, 163, and 198, increases a total of $13,500 from the main teacher line in the budget. The bulk of that is we gave everybody a substantial raise this year, including the substitute teachers. And we did our best to do a percent of increase to guesstimate how much that would be, and that was difficult to do with the increase we gave, and that was just a shortage we had, and we can correct that in future years now that we have something to go on. On page 2, 71,150, 499, an increase of $50 to cover an overage for supplies at the alternative school. They moved from their old building that was flooded into a new one, and that required a little bit more supplies, materials than we thought. 71,200, 399, an increase of $2,000 from the medical insurance line. This line is where we're invoiced, primarily a lot of it is where we're invoiced for educational services for students placed under doctor's orders in a treatment facility. And there's other special education contracted services that come out of that line, and it just went over this year. The next item, 71,200,212, an increase of $130 to employee Medicare coming from various lines in the same, two different categories actually. That's just general cleanup. That's also in a preschool grant. The next item would be various lines in 71,300. Again, the substitute teacher lines went over, and that's coming from the CTE teacher line to cover that overage. On page 3, in health services, 72,120, 189 is the bulk of that, $7,250. That is where we pay our sub nurses. We had a long-term leave to cover, and basically we took the salary that wasn't used and put it to cover the increase in the sub nurse line. The next item, coordinated school health, is just cleanup in 72,120 of the fixed cost from $1,075, decreasing from various lines in that same category. The next item, 72,222.17, hybrid stabilization, increase of $20 from the medical insurance. That's a portion of the state retirement is paid out of that line. 72,250, other salaries and wages, increase of $1,300. When we paid the bonuses, that line came up short, and that's to cover that bonus. Page 4. 72,310,330, an increase of $17,000 for legal services. 72,320, the next item, 72,320,307, an increase of $5,000 in communication from various lines in that same category. We'd actually decreased this line to cover medical insurance overage, and we just decreased it too much. We're fixing that. The next item, 72,610, custodial supplies. To move into the temporary school, we purchased, the principals purchased several non-consumable items, durable type items like custodial carts and mop buckets, those things that were lost in the flood. We had to front load the expense on that we won't have to do again, but that bulk of what caused that line to go over. And the next item, 72,710, clean up in those various lines coming out of the fuel line. On page 5, all of these are from federal budgets for school nutrition. And the first item, 71,100, 429, Dr. Mott moved from indirect cost to instructional supplies, $4,218, or is requesting to purchase, he says, to purchase software. The next item, IDEA Part B, received new increase in revenue, and that's where that was budgeted. Looks like, again, to cover some subs and bonus payments, and decreasing in a couple lines to make that total amount balance. And the next item is IDEA Preschool, and again, received an increase in revenue and budgeted there. And in school nutrition, various line items increased. Some of it looks like to cover their bonuses they paid out, and that's all of it, Mr. Chairman.
And any board member, got anything, any discussion they want to add to it?
I just want to say I appreciate that Mark explaining what these
No problem.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Warren. Mr. Saul, second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. 7-0. Number 9, that's Jeff.
Yes, every year we schedule a meeting. We'll run the July payrolls this next week, and we'll need time to go through the budget again. It's been complicated. We have a couple of big grants and some smaller ones that are now mixed in with our general purpose budget, and it's a challenge to manage that. It takes a lot of math, and Ms. Peak has been very diligent in getting us to do some cleanup along the way this time because of that. But we'll do our payrolls next week, and when we do that, we want to go through the budget again, make sure we have everything squared away, and just in case we need to do some more amendments to clean up, we'd like to schedule that on June 20th if everybody's agreeable to that.
Mr. Hayes, you got a dental appointment at 3. Is there any way we could do it like at 10 o'clock that morning? If you can't, she said she would come back at 6, but if you could do it that morning, if you can or can't, anybody got, what about it? Anybody got any? We'll be there. Cannot, 2 hours. Okay, I mean, she said she didn't mind she'd come back, and we scheduled at 6 o'clock, 20th. Guess we'll entertain a motion to approve that. Huh? Yeah, that was Renee.
I'm not committed. I'm just going to now.
Okay.
Find something later.
6 o'clock, good. Okay, 6 o'clock on the 20th. Need a motion to get to that. Okay. Second. Mr. Jesse, all in favor, let it go, saying aye. Opposed, like sign. If I can see this, I want to read this. Miss Wanda Ladd, she couldn't be here tonight. She left me this in the office. And it says, because our CEP reimbursements for January through May have been steady, we will be able to continue with community eligibility provision for the next school 3 years before we have to reapply. Before we have to reapply, we need to continue to improve our breakfast and lunch participation during those 3 years to maintain the rising costs of food, equipment, and labor. But I feel if we work together, we can do it. This also means that we may not need to have. This also means that we will not need to have any free and reduced applications filled out and turned in until our application runs out in 3 years. However, we still need to fill out all the homeless forms as well as student passports turned in to Mrs. Rye to continue updating that information in our system. Thank you for your help getting the program started, and thank you, Mr. Rye, for letting us take a chance on it with this program. I look forward to 3 more years of successful years of free lunches, and I do too. Thank you very much. And Mr. Rye, thank you all for evaluation. I'm sorry, evaluation. You got in your package. You got evaluation. That's for your record. That's for just for your record. And then if Mr. Martin's got anything on.
I have nothing at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Thank you, Mr. Martin, for accepting to do this. I appreciate it very much. It's a relief. Any board member got anything? Do you have any idea, Mr. Duffy, about the awning and street?
I have not seen the awning people. Mike might know more, but I haven't seen them. They're working on the AC this coming Monday.
Supposed to start this coming Monday.
So 16th, the next month. And they're going to be put the canopy up, and the screamers should be right behind it. And working the details to get the gate put up. It should be put up within tomorrow. It will be up for all of it.
Anybody else? Board member?
I just want to say, I'm glad that y'all are all here. I think
as a board, we are hoping that this will be a fresh start for us. I appreciate any, information from anybody that wants to talk to us, please, and let us know. But we are hoping that this is a fresh start and that, it can be better for the county and for our school system.
Thank you. Mr. Stuckey, thank you for hospitality, having us here, and very nice setup. Thank you very much. And Mr. John and Ms. Ashley, thank y'all for last month. And then we'll be up at junior high, Mr. Rankin, Mr. Caldecott, the Lord's willing, next month. And then we'll be on McEwen the next month after that. And then be back in the board office. Thank y'all for coming. Thank all of our employees, all of them, because it takes us all to make this thing go around. Appreciate y'all coming. Appreciate your comments. And thank you, Mr. Ross. Second by Mr.